Ay, 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 ay. That's right, ladies. I woke up like this. Good morning, you motherfucking sunshines. Welcome back to the third installment of... What the fuck did I call this? Oh yeah, every photo has a story. And indeed, every photo does have a story. And I've taken a lot of them. So, I pulled, I don't know, a dozen or so photos, tried to pick a few from each trail, and once again, we're going to talk about the backstories of these photos, kind of what I was going through when I took these, and the whole situation involved around the photo itself. So without further ado, let's take a trip down memory lane back to the Appalachian Trail, man. Ay, 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 ay. This photo here was taken at Bald Shelter, if I remember correctly. Early on the AT, springtime in Georgia. It is cold as fuck. Many of you may not know that. Oh, I'm going down to the south. It's going to be warm. No, hell no, man. It's winter up there, North Georgia. But yeah, this was taken up at Bald Shelter. From what I remember of this morning, leading up to it, the day before, it just pissed rained all fucking day, I remember. You know, that cold rain, just miserable shit. Got up to Bald Shelter, and, you know, if you guys follow me, you know I hate sleeping in shelters. Now, on the AT, I did set up my tent around shelters, only because there was a good shitter there and a good water source. But I would generally put my tent away from the shelter. That way I don't have to deal with any snoring hikers and mice and all that shit. So I set up my tent here outside of Bald Shelter after hiking through an all-day rain fest the day before. Well, at night, man, it turned real shitty. And I remember getting woken up in my tent at probably like 2 a.m. My duplex, I was carrying the duplex at the time. The duplex had collapsed on my head, and that's how I got woken up from the snowpack. Now, it wasn't ridiculous, but it was that, you know, real wet, heavy snow. It was maybe like 4 or 5 inches on the ground. But yeah, I got woken up. My tent had collapsed on my head. And I said, fuck this shit. I just quickly restaked the main, you know, guy line that holds my trekking pole up just so I could get through the night. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this shit right now. Rolled back over, went to sleep, woke up in the morning, and I'm like, okay, let's reassess the damage here. Alright, fuck. Let's see what the damage is outside. Get my fucking frozen shoes on. They were fucking ice cubes. But we got them on. Yup. Snow came in last night. I got pissed on all day, and then everything else fucking froze tonight. It was just shitty. Packed my shit up and walked into Bald Shelter about 30 feet, and I said, I'm not hiking today. And many hikers that were around there, camped there as well, they said the same thing. So we all basically huddled in Bald Shelter for the day. Took a zero at the shelter, which leads to the next photo. This was taken that day within Bald Shelter, and you can't really see from this photo, but I think we had about at least 8 people in there, maybe more than that. But the hilarious thing about this photo was you can see that massive fucking tent set up in the vestibule of the shelter. Oh my god, these two chicks, right? They had already been on trail for like a month, okay? I'm on like week number 1 or whatever the fuck it was, early on the trail. These chicks have been on the trail for like a month already. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. I don't know why they were out there to begin with. I think they were just like, oh fuck, we'll just go have fun on the AT. And I don't think they planned on through hiking it, but these two chicks showed up at the shelter. They're like, oh, you don't mind if we set our tent up in the shelter because there's no room. Everyone's like, oh, whatever. And so I obviously have to go along with it. Well, they bust out their tent, and as you can see, this is like one of those big, like 4-person Coleman fucking Walmart tents or whatever the hell. Ozark Trail. I don't know what the hell it was, but it was just massive. And these chicks were annoying as hell, okay? I can understand it's cold. I'm like, okay, yeah, get in here, get warm. But these chicks set up this monstrosity of a tent, and then they were just chatterboxes. They would not stop talking the whole fucking time. And I had seriously debated packing my shit up and going out in that cold just to get to the next shelter, so I didn't have to listen to these chatterboxes. But they were annoying as hell, and they were just like getting freebies from everybody else. They'd go in the shelter, and beg for food. They didn't have any food on them. They were like begging for food. So everybody, of course, goes in their food bags and gives them food and shit. I don't see these two chicks making it very far on the trail. I never saw them again after this day, but goddamn, they were annoying as hell. If you want a suggestion on through hiking the AT, go southbound, man. At least start earlier. Yes, you'll have to deal with cold weather, but being in the bubble, you have to deal with people like this at every fucking shelter. It sucks balls, man. All right, let's move on to better times. Kind of. Holy shit. Obviously, this is me behind a mountain of Arby's roast beef sandwiches, man. Arby's resupply challenge. Okay, if you don't know the backstory of this, I wanted to, what town was it? God damn, I'm going to forget the names of the towns now. Oh yeah, Marion, Virginia, right? And, you know, you do get bored out there from time to time. You got to entertain yourself. So I had this brilliant idea. I was originally going to do the McDonald's resupply challenge, which a lot of PCT hikers do. But I'm like, I'm going to do a McDonald's resupply challenge, eat nothing but McDonald's for like the next stretch. Well, I was hiking with this guy named Toki at the time. He was a massive weed head, like one of those all-day smokers. I'm going to figure I'll wait till he's high and shit, and then I'll drag him along with me for this challenge. We're walking in Marion, Virginia down the street. I'm looking for the Mickey D's. But then I first come up on the Arby's. I'm like, oh, let's do Arby's instead. This will be a better idea. Well, it turned out to be a shitty idea. Me and Toki walked into Arby's right when they opened it, like fucking 10:30 a.m., whatever the hell, early, okay? And I go up to the fucking counter. I'm like, this is going to sound real ridiculous, but I had like 50 roast beef sandwiches, man. Appreciate Arby's sandwich.
It's like small bags.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Obviously, the first night they tasted amazing, and then by the second day, it's like I made the mistake of when I was leaving the restaurant, I took all these Arby's roast beef sandwiches in the foil, and I just tossed them all in my food bed, right? So by the second day, I'm just jamming the shit in my pack. By the second day, they were just like all congealed, like a big ball of bread and roast beef. It was just fucking gnarly as hell. So by the second day, they're all like smashed in my food bag, and I gotta peel off the bun, just get Arby's sauce on there. Horrible. And by the third day, I don't remember how long this challenge lasted. It was either 3 or 4 days. By the third day, and, you know, this is Virginia, right? It's getting up into the mid to upper 80s during the day. And all I've been eating for like the last 2 days was Arby's roast beef. So it's like hot and muggy, and I just have meat sweats, like Arby's just dripping down my fucking face, and I could smell it. And it made me gag a couple times when I was hiking. It was fucking horrible. And then we finally got to Marion. Now, the other part of this story is, me and Toki, going into this, we assumed we were going to be shitting our brains out like every day. Well, the opposite effect happened, and we both got backed up. So we had hauled out each like a full roll of toilet paper, expecting to shit our brains out. Well, we got backed up. And so can you imagine by the third day, I've got like 20 roast beef sandwiches in me. I haven't shit in 2 days, and I've got meat sweats. It was just the most nightmarish situation of all time. And I kept looking at Gut Hook. I'm like, are we fucking there? Are we there yet? So I backed up. I finally make it to Marion, Virginia. It's like a bland Virginia, and it is bland. There's nothing there. Other than I remember there was a Dollar General and a Dairy Queen. Well, me and Toki both go into Dairy Queen and just destroyed like 2 banana splits apiece, chicken tender platter, you know, a blizzard, the whole 9 yards. And if I remember correctly, Toki finally, his colon couldn't take it anymore. He rushed into the bathroom at Dairy Queen, just exploded it. We had booked hotels across from Dairy Queen. I still didn't have to shit. So I actually didn't shit to that following evening in my hotel room after having 24 roast beef sandwiches and a shit ton of Dairy Queen in my system. Holy fuck, it was horrible. Let's move it on to the PCT now. Oh no, actually I got one more from the AT. Before we move on to the AT, we'll try to keep these in order, Mom. This is my naked ass up on top of McAfee knob. McAfee knob, however you want to say it. I gave quite a few people a show this day. So, McAfee knob is the most photographed location on the Appalachian Trail, not just because of thru hikers, but because of tourists too. It's a real popular day hiking spot. Obviously, you can see the view. It's amazing. What a lot of people don't know about this, if you haven't been there, every photo you see of McAfee knob, it looks like if you were to fall off this cliff, you would fall to your death. Well, there's really like another rock platform right underneath it. So people always, and I did the same thing, you crop the photo to where it looks like you're hanging off the edge of the world. In reality, it's like a lot of people go up there in cowboy camp. You're not supposed to, but a lot of people do. But anyway, so the night we go up there, I wanted to see the sunset and sunrise from McAfee knob. So actually, I went up there. I was hiking around a few people at the time. Homewrecker and fuck, I can't remember. Toki was probably there. I can't remember who I was with. There was this chick there too from Hawaii. She was pretty cool. Her and Homewrecker were kind of dating, but anyway, we had camped at a campsite called Pig Farm right below. It was a couple miles down the mountain from McAfee knob. So we set up our shit, walked up there for the sunset the night before. It was amazing, beautiful sunset, and then we went back down and camped at Pig Farm, planning on a sunrise hike the next day. And it must have been the weekend because we go up there for sunrise. At the beginning, it was just probably us and 5 other thru hikers. It was a real quiet, peaceful morning, beautiful sunrise. But then the tourists started showing up, and before you knew it, there was a whole crowd gathered up there, probably 20 people, non-thru hikers. And I had originally planned on taking a piss off of McAfee knob and getting a photo of it. Well, because there were so many people, I got stage fright. I whipped my wiener out and I couldn't pee in front of that many people. I'm like, I gotta do something up here. This is McAfee knob. So I said I'm gonna get naked. Well, that chick, she had come up later that day, and I already got naked and taken a photo. And she showed up and she's like, oh, I want to get naked too, but I don't want to do it by myself. So I'm like, all right, I'll get naked again. So I stripped down to my birthday suit with this chick, and we both run out of McAfee knob. And there was this dude there, a tourist or whatever. He had a massive telephoto lens. And he's like, I can take some really good photos of you from a distance over here if you'd like. I'm like, sure, dude. Whatever floats your boat. And then he's like, well, give me your email and I'll send you these photos after the fact. I'm like, all right, whatever. Didn't even think anything of it. Well, I get home from the AT months later, and this guy, I get an email out of the blue from this dude I totally forgot about with 50 high definition, high resolution photos of my ass in different angles and shit. Good God, man. So yeah, I got naked in front of 20 people up here on McAfee knob. Definitely worth it. It was amazing, and I'll never forget that evening and morning. It was good times, man. Obviously, you hear about Forester and Mather and all these other passes that are supposed to be the most sketch parts of the Sierra section, but nobody really talks about Glen Pass. Glen Pass, after reading the guide comments, it's like, well, this is one of the easier passes. You read comments from years before, and it's like, no problem. Well, this turned out to be one of the scariest ones. Besides Mather was the scariest, but Glen, the going up the south side of it wasn't that bad, but this is actually coming down the backside of Glen, and the photo is never going to do justice, but it's a huge drop off, right? You can see that slope. Just from one hiker to the other standing, how big of a drop off it is. So if you were to fall, I mean, you're if you don't have your ice axe handy, you're going down a ways. And it was just people had dug out switchbacks, and as you can see in the background, it looks like somebody had glissaded down that thing. But man, my butthole was puckered the whole time going down Glen, and I'm thinking to myself when I got to the bottom, this is supposed to be one of the easier passes. This is going to be a rough go because this was not easy. Glen Pass done. That was not fun, motherfuckers. This is supposed to be one of the easy passes. I was scared shitless, man, but it was a good introduction to the Sierra, and I got more comfortable as I went, and obviously made it. But I had some serious doubts whether or not I was capable of going through that shit that year. It was a rough go. So this next photo here, I don't remember exactly where this was taken. Somewhere, yeah, I can't remember. Was it maybe Yosemite, somewhere around there? I just love this photo because, you know, the mornings, obviously, with my coffee addiction, it was my favorite time of the day, really. Like, waking up in my tent, just enjoying my coffee and staring up at a mountain like this. It was just amazing. Nice, cool mornings, listening to the birds and shit. But also, it was a good, like, reflecting time each morning as I got farther and farther up the trail to just realize, like, I'm actually doing this, you know. Getting to Kennedy Meadows and having serious doubts about making it through, and then going over Glen and then Forster and Mather and all these passes. I'm like, I'm inching my way north and I'm making it through this shit, which a lot of it I didn't think I could. So it was a good reflecting time for me to sit there and enjoy my coffee and like say, hey, I'm doing some badass shit right now. And it's those like I said, it's one of my favorite times of the day when I can sit and enjoy my coffee and just listen to Mother Nature, man. It's a special time. Roscoe, are you fucking up productions, Mom? Of course you are. We're going to take it all the way to the end now. I love this fucking photo. Going over this pass right here. I believe this is Rock Pass. Don't quote me on that. But that slope is about 70 degrees probably. And, you know, maybe it looks sketchier than it actually really was. I mean, obviously it was sketch, but the snow conditions, it was at least wet snow, so as we dug in with footprints, I felt fairly secure in there. Now, we were causing like little mini avalanches as we were going through there, but as I was walking across this pass, I did feel pretty secure in there. But it was just a whiteout, and I remember obviously I took this photo, and the guys are coming behind me, so I was breaking trail on this direction, this section, and I remember Snazzy like laughing, and Beats was laughing too, and probably right. They were all laughing like this is hilarious. Almost all you could really do is laugh at that situation. You're like, look what we're fucking doing. It's insanity. We're gonna move it on to the CDT now. This photo here, we're going to skip all the way up to Wyoming. This is taken in the Wind River Range. Gorgeous section of trail if you ever want to just do a section. The winds are special. They're just like monuments. The mountains look like churches. As you can see here. Now, I believe this stretch, now there's an alternate that some people did, and I think I stayed on the CDT. So the alternate, I believe, went up over into those peaks. On the other side, you can see down into the valley. And I think most people actually did that, but I was like, I don't want to deal with the crowds, and I heard it was a real popular day hiking area, so I decided to stay down in the valley on the CDT itself. Turned out to be amazing, because I got to look up at that shit, which was beautiful, and then you had all the flowers down below in this valley. Water was flowing, and because so many people were taking that alternate up top, I had this whole stretch of trail to myself, really. I think one particular day I remember I didn't see a single person, not a single person hiking through this shit by myself. Was fucking very surreal. Yeah, I wish I would have taken more photos through this. The weather, as you can see, the sky, did get stuck with a couple days of rain through this stuff, so I was kind of trying to push to camp, but I wish I would have taken more photos through here. I did get a couple that I'm quite proud of, this being one of them. The winds are amazing. If you ever get a chance to go and do that section, it's amazing. And if through hiking, whether you go up top on the alternate or to stay on the CDT, you can't really lose. I think if I would do the stretch again, I'd probably do something different and go up top. But I do not regret my decision on this stretch. It was beautiful. Shameless plug. Coffee mugs available. IB Tap merch. SavedByMomsPhotography.com, man. This photo, absolutely love. Looks like a painting. I edited it to make it look like a Bob Ross type painting. Happy little shit all over this photo. This was taken the first day in Glacier. As you enter Glacier National Park on the CDT, this is what you see. 2 Medicine Lake down below. You go up over a pass and gnarly climbing to get up here. The winds were insanity. Now, when I took this photo, I actually busted out my 7200 because it was a long distance away, and I want to get a little closer, frame the lake and just the mountains. So I busted out this lens. Now, the way I carried this lens was I had a little Outdoor Research zip sack. So I pulled out the zip sack and I stuck it underneath the rock on the switchback right up top here. The winds were so bad. It was probably like 60 to 70 mile an hour winds. And this little stuff sack was under a rock, right? The winds were so strong, it ripped the stuff sack out from underneath the rock. And my stuff sack went flying off this mountain. Never saw it again. But I didn't really care because I just sat here and photographed this location from... I probably took 50 photos of this same lake as I was descending down into 2 Medicine Lake because it was so unbelievably beautiful. And every switchback I went down, you get closer and the perspective would change, and I'd take another photo, take another photo. It took me forever to get down to that lake because I was just photographing the shit out of it. As you can see in the bottom right hand corner of this photo, there's a little road there, so you actually connect down with that road and then walk right up to 2 Medicine. There's a ranger station there, a campground, and I was so looking forward to, they had a little gift shop, like food, they were selling food and sodas and shit. I was so looking forward to that because I was paranoid about when you enter Glacier as a thru hiker or anybody else, you have to get permits because it's a national park, so they give you designated camp spots throughout the park as you go. And it's a crapshoot. You can request locations, but it's like whatever's available, really. They can only put so many people at these camp spots. So I was paranoid because I only packed out like 4 or 5 days of food. Turns out it was shitty because it was so booked up that I was doing low mileage days for like the first 2 days, and like 7 mile days, a 10 mile day, and I was gonna run out of food. And when I showed up here, it was like mid-September. And the stores, everything was starting to shut down already, including the store, so I couldn't buy any food there. I think I had yogied some food off of some day hikers, luckily, to push me through Glacier. But yeah, I was kind of screwed with food there. I'd been here once before when I lived up in Montana. I'd been here before, and I remember how beautiful it was. It is an amazing location. I would definitely go back there as a tourist and just camp around that lake and do some day hiking around there and photograph. Because obviously it looks like a painting. It doesn't look real. We got 2 more photos to look at here. We're going to bring it all the way to the very, very end. Now, I don't have any video of these last 2 photos because this is after I finished already. As I hiked out, I was so done with filming. I didn't really want, obviously I didn't want to film anymore. I was over it. I did take some photos on my way out. Now, how I got out of Glacier after I finished the CDT was I actually hiked 4 miles back from the terminus, which intersected with the Pacific Northwest Trail. And I took that out. It was like a 20-mile hike on the PNW out to Polebridge, Montana. I did take some photos because it was so unbelievably beautiful. A lot of people that do the PNW go west to east, so they finish in Glacier. It would be an amazing way to finish, for sure. But this is on the PNW. I passed by probably 3 or 4 of these amazing lakes on that stretch to Polebridge. Unbelievably beautiful, and there wasn't a hell of a lot of traffic. Now I will say that that section of trail wasn't maintained very well, so there was blow down city. It was very slow going out of there for those 20 miles. But once I got to start getting these lakes, it started opening up a little bit, and it was just amazing and beautiful. This morning, it was so calm, and there was not a breath of wind. The lake was still as hell. I can't remember the name of this lake, but it was a cool morning. You can see the fog rising off the lake itself, and the reflection was amazing. then that solo tree, which is one of my favorite things to photograph, was standing off in the distance. And I sat here by this lake by myself without seeing a single person for like an hour. I was waiting for a grizzly to come out of the tree so I could get a photo with the tree and the grizzly. Obviously that was not going to happen, but I did get amazing photo of this tree. It was beautiful. And just because I had already finished and just being able to sit by this lake and reflect on what I had just done was a special time for me. Yeah, I wish I could go back there this morning and just sit here by this lake. It was fucking awesome. Which brings us to the final location. Polebridge Mercantile. Fucking awesome place. So when you take the PNW out, it takes you to a lake, which you have to hike along this lake for like it's a 7 mile long lake. It takes fucking forever. Beautiful lake, but it was just, oh my God, I just want to be done and get off my feet. Finally spits you out at the edge of this lake. There's a campground there. Like 6 miles out down a dirt road, it will get you to the Polebridge, Montana. So stuck my thumb in the air. Finally, actually I walked down that dirt road for like 2 miles before somebody actually picked me up and drove me to this Mercantile. Now Polebridge, it's not really a town. It's just like an encampment in the middle of nowhere. Awesome, beautiful location. But this is the main attraction right here. It's a bakery, basically. Amazing baked goods. They're famous for their bear claws, and they do these like stuffed, I don't know, it's like a roll, like a big roll, but they stuff them with like savory and sweet. They have like meatball ones. Fucking amazing. So I planned on getting here, spending like a half a day and getting to Kalispell because I was so done, ready to get a shower and everything else. But it didn't turn out that way. I was stuck here basically for 2.5 days trying to get out. Nobody would give me a ride. I stuck my thumb in the air every day. I'd sit there in that rocking chair. Every tourist that walked in, can you give me a ride to Kalispell? Can you give me a ride? I had a sign made, a whole 9 yards. Nobody would pick me up. I'm like, fuck, I might not get out of here. I didn't complain too hard because it was amazing staying at this place every single day. But they wouldn't let me camp there. I asked them, can I set my tent up behind here while I try to get hitched and shit? They wouldn't let me because they do have people that rent little cabins and tent spots there. So I had to walk a mile every single day down the dirt road, and I found this little river that I could set my tent up next to. Actually, it was an awesome spot. There's a couple van lifers that were set up there too. And I'd walk down a mile, set up my shit, and then walk back to the Mercantile in the morning every day, get some baked goods and a coffee, and try to hitch again. And there was a grizzly that was hanging around the store for every single day I was there. And I'd walk this mile back and forth, and every single time I saw this fucking grizzly, like right off the road. It was scaring the shit out of me. Obviously, nothing ever came of it, but it was still pretty. Like, I already finished the CDT, walked through like Bob Marshall Wilderness, Glacier National Park, all this shit, and I survived. And now I'm gonna get eaten after I already finished. But grizzly was just sniffing around looking for trash every day from tourists. Anywho, stayed there for 2.5 days, and finally I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I need a shower. I need to get the fuck out. So I had $50 left in my pocket. It's about the only cash I had left. And I bribed one of the employees working there to give me a lift to Kalispell, which was like a 30-mile drive. And she refused the money. Nice gal, but I gave it to her anyway because I was so relieved to be out of there. So she drove me into Kalispell. I got a hotel room, and that was paid for by a subscriber, thankfully. And I got a flight out of there, out of Kalispell to Georgia. Awesome spot if you ever want to go to Polebridge. Like I said, there's the lake and a campground 6 miles down the road. It'd be a beautiful spot to camp, canoe the river and the lake and all that shit. Yeah, it's awesome. And the baked goods alone are worth the drive. Even if you're just going to the Glacier for the day, take a side trip to Polebridge and get yourself a bear claw there. Fucking cool store. They got a bunch of gifts in there and whatnot. I bought a t-shirt from there, I believe. Yeah, just a good way to finish, for sure. Didn't plan on being there 2.5 days, but it was a nice spot to finish. Anybody that finishes the CDT, obviously you can hike back on the CDT, but if you want to avoid all those passes, especially if it's snowy, take the PNW out of there. The terrain's not as bad, and you get those beautiful lakes and not a lot of traffic. Fucking awesome. All right, that's the last photo I have to share. Hope I didn't talk your ear off too much. I can talk about this shit forever, man. I love reminiscing about these photos, and when you're off trail like this, it sucks, man. I miss being out there every fucking day, even though my body thanks me. My mind and my heart are like, fuck, wish I was out there, ass cheeks and toenails falling off and the whole 9 yards, man, because I miss being out there. But we'll start planning the next one. That's about all we can do. All right, I'm going to leave you there. Roscoe, he's passed the fuck out. Thank you for not fucking up productions too hard, man. Again, calendars. I'm going to keep them up on my website, savedbymountains.photography.com. If you still want a calendar, you're not going to get it by Christmas at this point, but I'll leave them up on my website for sale probably through December, so you can still pick one up. Prints will always be for sale, so you know, if you want to help me out a little bit in this this downtime as I plan my next adventure, go get yourself a print, get yourself a calendar, merch, all that shit's available through my website. So, all right, enough talking. I'm tired. Probably will take an afternoon nap, man. We'll holler at you fuckers next time.